Good morning/afternoon/evening, everyone. Today, we're going to talk about something that often gets overlooked until it becomes a problem: your hormone health and fertility. Whether you're thinking about family planning, optimizing your performance, or simply preserving long-term vitality, your hormone system is the silent regulator behind it all. Think of your hormonal health as the Swan effect. Smooth on the surface, but powered by a deep, dynamic system underneath. If that system breaks down, everything starts to ripple outward: energy, mood, libido, metabolic health, and of course, fertility. Let's break this down into 6 science-backed strategies you can start applying immediately to protect and enhance your hormone and fertility health in both men and women. Prioritizing sleep is one of the most powerful and accessible ways to reset and maintain hormonal balance. Most people underestimate the biological precision that occurs during high-quality sleep. Hormones are not just passively released, they follow tightly controlled rhythms, and sleep is when many of these rhythms are synchronized and restored. Deep sleep, especially between the hours of 10 p.m. and 4 a.m., is when the brain signals the body to release pulses of growth hormone, luteinizing hormone, and sex steroids like testosterone and estrogen. These pulses are time-dependent and highly sensitive to disruptions in the sleep cycle. Even one night of poor or insufficient sleep can lower testosterone in men by up to 15% the next day, and for women, disrupted sleep can interfere with ovulation, menstrual regularity, and mood stability, all of which are hormonally regulated. The timing of sleep matters. Going to bed at 2 a.m. and waking at 10 a.m. is not equivalent hormonally to sleeping from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., even if the total duration is the same. Your internal clock, or circadian rhythm, is calibrated to light and dark cycles, and hormone release is aligned with those rhythms. Melatonin, which rises in the evening, not only helps you fall asleep, but also interacts with reproductive hormones, acting as a kind of master switch for endocrine activity. If melatonin in production is delayed or suppressed due to bright lights, screens, or irregular sleep schedules, it disrupts this entire cascade. To protect and optimize hormone function, you need to approach sleep as a structured practice. That means keeping a consistent bedtime and wake-up time, even on weekends. It means creating an environment that supports deep rest. A dark, cool room around 65-68 degrees F, minimal noise, and no screens at least 60-90 minutes before bed. Alcohol, caffeine, and late night eating should also be minimized, as they blunt the depth of sleep and interfere with the normal hormonal surges that occur overnight. In short, sleep isn't passive. It's an active hormonal therapy your body performs for you nightly if you let it. And when you consistently prioritize sleep, you lay the foundation for stable energy, reproductive health, and long-term endocrine resilience. Light is one of the most powerful environmental signals your body uses to regulate hormone production, and its timing and quality directly impact fertility and overall endocrine health. From the moment you wake up, your brain is scanning for cues to align your internal biological clock, a system called the circadian rhythm. That rhythm governs when cortisol rises, when melatonin is released, and critically, how sex hormones like estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone are secreted throughout the day. Getting exposure to natural sunlight within the first 30 minutes of waking helps anchor that internal clock. Specifically, light hitting the photoreceptors in your eyes triggers a cascade through the hypothalamus and into the pituitary gland, which is the control center for hormone release. This early light exposure stimulates a healthy, time-appropriate cortisol spike, essential for energy, alertness, and the activation of hormonal systems that govern reproductive function. It also sets the timer for evening melatonin in release, which later helps induce sleep and supports overnight hormone repair. On the flip side, exposure to artificial light at night, especially blue light from screens and overhead LEDs, disrupts that timing. Your brain interprets light as a signal that it's still daytime, suppressing melatonin and delaying the onset of deep sleep. Since melatonin is not just a sleep hormone, but also plays a key role in protecting egg and sperm quality and regulating ovarian cycles, this disruption creates a ripple effect that can impair fertility over time. For men, it can reduce testosterone production. For women, it can cause irregular cycles and delayed ovulation. Managing your light environment is low-hanging fruit with high-impact results. Step outside for at least 10 minutes in the morning without sunglasses, even if it's overcast. During the day, increase your exposure to natural light by working near windows. And at night, reduce overhead lighting, use warm or red light tones, and avoid screens for at least an hour before bed. If you must use devices, install blue light filters or wear blue blocking glasses. Light is not just about vision. It's a hormonal signal, a reset button, and one of the easiest ways to align your internal systems with the external world. Master your light exposure, and you begin to master your hormonal health. Stress is often thought of as purely psychological, but its effects are deeply physiological, especially when it comes to hormones and fertility. When the brain perceives stress, whether it's from work, relationships, undereating, overtraining, or even constant digital stimulation, it activates the hypothalamic, pituitary, adrenal HPA axis. This leads to the release of cortisol, a hormone designed to help us respond to immediate threats. In short bursts, cortisol is useful. It sharpens focus, mobilizes energy, and temporarily suppresses non-essential systems like digestion and reproduction. The problem arises when stress becomes chronic. When cortisol is elevated for long periods, it interferes with the hypothalamic, pituitary, gonadal HPG axis, the system responsible for regulating reproductive hormones. In men, chronic stress lowers testosterone production and reduces sperm count and quality. In women, it disrupts the delicate balance of estrogen and progesterone, leading to irregular cycles, anovulation, and reduced fertility. Even the perception of stress, feeling overwhelmed without taking action, can be enough to initiate this hormonal suppression. This happens not just in the brain, but all the way down to the ovaries and testes, where the signals to produce sex hormones get blunted or blocked altogether. The good news is that there are specific, science-backed tools to lower baseline stress and recalibrate the nervous system. One of the most effective methods is controlled breathing, specifically slow, nasal, diaphragmatic breathing that activates the parasympathetic nervous system. Even just a few minutes per day of deliberate breathing, such as box breathing, inhale 4 seconds, hold 4, exhale 4, hold 4, or the physiological sigh, 2 quick inhales followed by a slow exhale, can shift your body out of a stress, dominant state and back into balance. Physical movement, especially moderate intensity exercise and time in nature, also lowers cortisol and improves hormone sensitivity. It's important to understand that you can't eliminate stress completely, and you don't need to. The goal isn't to avoid stress, but to manage your relationship with it. Acute stress that is followed by recovery can actually make your system more resilient. Cold exposure, sauna, intense workouts, all are stressors, but when applied deliberately and followed by adequate rest, they condition the body to handle pressure more effectively without tanking hormonal output. In a world that constantly demands your attention and energy, managing stress isn't a luxury. It's a hormonal necessity. Your endocrine system is listening to every signal. And when you take control of those inputs, especially through daily stress-reducing practices, you create an internal environment where reproductive and metabolic hormones can thrive. Exercise is a potent hormonal signal, but how you train matters just as much as how often. Not all forms of exercise support hormonal health equally, and in some cases, too much of the wrong type can actually harm it. The key lies in training with intention, applying the right amount of stress to stimulate hormonal benefits without tipping into burnout or dysregulation. Resistance training, particularly compound movements that engage large muscle groups, like squats, deadlifts, and pull-ups, has been shown to significantly boost testosterone and growth hormone levels in men. These hormonal shifts aren't just about building muscle. They also support libido, motivation, metabolic function, and mood regulation. For women, strength training plays a crucial role in improving insulin sensitivity, supporting progesterone production, and stabilizing estrogen levels, especially during perimenopause or post-birth control recovery. High-intensity interval training HIIT done 2 to 3 times per week can also enhance growth hormone output and improve cardiovascular health, both of which are connected to reproductive vitality. The key with HIIT is short duration and high effort, 20 to 30 minutes max. More isn't better here. It's about creating a strong, acute hormonal signal followed by recovery. On the flip side, excessive cardio or chronic overtraining, think hours of steady state running, daily boot camps, or back-to-back workouts without rest, can spike cortisol and suppress the production of key reproductive hormones like testosterone and luteinizing hormone. This often leads to symptoms like missed periods in women, low libido in men, poor recovery, and declining fertility markers over time. The stress from this kind of training overwhelms the endocrine system instead of supporting it. Recovery is not the opposite of training, it's part of training. Deep sleep, rest days, walking, stretching, and mobility work all help your hormonal system interpret exercise as a beneficial signal instead of a chronic threat. Listen to your body's feedback. Low motivation, disrupted sleep, frequent illness, or stalled progress are often signs that your hormonal system needs a deload, not another high-intensity session. Exercise should energize and strengthen your endocrine system, not deplete it. When you train with purpose, balancing resistance, intensity, and rest, you create a hormonal environment where fertility, strength, and vitality can all coexist. What you eat directly influences your hormonal environment, and not just in abstract, long-term ways. Your meals send immediate signals to your endocrine system. Hormones are built from the raw materials you consume, and when key nutrients are missing or imbalanced, your body simply cannot produce or regulate hormones efficiently. This has profound effects on fertility, energy, mood, and metabolic health. Micronutrients like zinc, magnesium, vitamin D, selenium, iodine, and omega-3 fatty acids play critical roles in hormone synthesis and signaling. For example, zinc is essential for testosterone production and sperm quality. Magnesium supports the balance between estrogen and progesterone. Vitamin D functions like a hormone itself and directly influences ovarian and testicular function. Without sufficient intake of these nutrients, your hormonal system starts to misfire, often showing up as fatigue, irregular cycles, low libido, or poor stress resilience. Protein is another key player. Adequate protein intake supports the building of peptide hormones and helps stabilize blood sugar, which is crucial for keeping insulin in check. Insulin resistance, which often results from high sugar and high refined carb diets, is a root cause of hormonal imbalances like polycystic ovarian syndrome, PCOS, and low testosterone in men. Eating for hormone health means choosing foods that are nutrient-dense, not just calorie-dense. Think pasture-raised eggs, grass-fed meats, wild-caught fish, nuts, seeds, dark leafy greens, and colorful vegetables. On the other hand, ultra-processed foods loaded with trans fats, seed oils, artificial additives, and excessive sugar create a toxic load on the endocrine system. These foods promote inflammation, dysregulate blood sugar, and introduce compounds that mimic hormones, often leading to estrogen dominance, testosterone suppression, and increased risk of infertility. Regular consumption of these foods also affects gut health, which plays a surprisingly large role in hormone detoxification and conversion. Timing matters too. Eating balanced meals at consistent intervals helps regulate cortisol and insulin rhythms. Skipping meals or undereating, especially in active individuals, can signal to the body that resources are scarce, triggering a hormonal downshift that affects fertility and metabolic rate. Intermittent fasting may benefit some people, but if it leads to chronic underfueling, particularly in women, it can disrupt ovulation and thyroid function. Ultimately, food is not just fuel, it's information. Every bite tells your hormonal system something about your environment. If you feed it with intention, you're not just nourishing your body, you're instructing your hormones to support fertility, stability, and long-term health. Your environment plays a silent but powerful role in shaping your hormonal health, particularly through exposure to endocrine, disrupting chemicals, substances that interfere with the way your hormones are produced, transported, or received by cells. These compounds are found in everyday items: plastic containers, canned foods, cosmetics, cleaning products, and even the air you breathe. While individually they may seem harmless, their cumulative impact over time can significantly disrupt the endocrine system, impair fertility, and alter hormone-sensitive processes like metabolism, sleep, and mood. One of the most well-documented disruptors is BPA bisphenol A, commonly found in plastic bottles, food packaging, and receipts. BPA mimics estrogen in the body, binding to estrogen receptors and throwing off the natural hormonal balance. In men, this can lower testosterone and reduce sperm quality. In women, it can lead to estrogen dominance, irregular cycles, and increased risk of reproductive disorders. Phthalates found in fragrances, vinyl, and personal care products can impair testosterone synthesis and interfere with ovarian function. Parabens, often used as preservatives in lotions and shampoos, also mimic estrogen and have been detected in breast tissue and urine samples worldwide. These chemical signals confuse the body's natural messaging systems. The endocrine system is highly sensitive and operates on extremely low concentrations of hormones. Introducing foreign compounds that look or act like hormones overwhelms this delicate system and can blunt or distort the body's natural responses. Over time, this can affect not just fertility, but thyroid health, adrenal balance, and even the risk of hormone-related cancers. Reducing exposure doesn't require perfection. It starts with awareness and small, sustainable changes. Use glass or stainless steel containers instead of plastic, especially for hot foods or liquids. Choose unscented or naturally scented products and read labels for phthalates, parabens, and synthetic fragrances. Filter your drinking water and, if possible, your shower water as well, since these can be sources of chlorine and other hormone-disrupting chemicals. Eat organic when feasible, especially for animal products and the dirty dozen, fruits and vegetables, which tend to carry the highest pesticide residues. Your body is constantly interpreting signals from your environment. While you can't control everything, you can significantly reduce the burden by making more informed choices. Over time, these decisions support clearer hormonal communication, more consistent fertility signals, and a healthier baseline for every system regulated by hormones, essentially, almost everything in your body. In closing, your hormone health and fertility are not random outcomes. They are reflections of the daily signals you send your body through your behavior, environment, and mindset. These systems are dynamic, responsive, and trainable. The quality of your sleep, the timing and type of light you expose yourself to, how you manage stress, how intelligently you train, what you choose to eat, and how you limit toxic exposures. These are all powerful levers that directly influence your endocrine function. Hormones don't just regulate reproduction, they govern energy, mood, focus, immunity, and long-term vitality. Fertility is not just about making a child, it's an indicator of how well your body is functioning as a whole system. If fertility is compromised, it often means that something deeper needs attention. The beauty of this system is that it responds quickly to intentional changes. By respecting the biology, aligning with circadian rhythms, and reducing friction between your lifestyle and your physiology, you give your body the conditions it needs to thrive, not just survive. You don't need to be perfect, but you do need to be consistent. Start with sleep, anchor your light exposure, regulate your stress, move with purpose, nourish your system, and clean up your environment. Over time, these choices will create hormonal harmony, and with that, a healthier, more resilient version of you. Thank you.